Welcome. My name is Manuel Reta. I'm the founder of the Northwest Washington Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And today I am here to interview a friend of mine, somebody that's a senator, Republican senator. And I will have him, Keith Wagner, your part to say what you are.
All right. Well, I am Senator Keith Wagoner. I've represented the 39th Legislative District for the past 5 years, and I live in Cedar-Woolley. I represent parts of Skagit and Snohomish counties. I am the Republican whip. I serve on the Ways and Means Committee, Law and Justice Committee, and I'm the ranking member on the Behavioral Health Committee. But today, I'm running for Secretary of State.
And this is, again, a nonpartisan position, I take it, or not?
It's a partisan position, and there's lots of candidates right now. There's eight, some Republicans, some Democrats, some nonpartisan, some independent, and some things I've never heard of.
My other question is, how much, how should I say it, how much experience do you see in those candidates? How many years or how much that you have witnessed or you have known these people? If you have known them, can you speak a little bit about that or not?
Sure. So I know the governor's appointee, Senator Hobbs. He and I have worked together in the legislature. He's been there quite a bit longer than I have. On the other side of the aisle is me and a couple of others who are filed as Republicans. Of those, I know Mark Malosha. He was formerly a senator who lost his seat and is now running for Secretary of State, just like me.
Okay, good. Well, that gives you a little bit of background as far as that goes. As far as the Hispanic population, it's important that they also stay in tune with this here, because later on I'm going to be talking in Espanol, in Spanish. That way I'm able to reach out not just to hear this station, La Voz De Whatcom, reaches all the way to Mexico. Mexico doesn't need to know, okay? But the important thing is Washington needs to know about the Secretary of State and the accountability that the individual brings to the table or to us to help us, because we are the citizens. We are the ones that are voting on all of these issues, or all of these individuals that are actually running for office, you know. And I'm going to just say a little bit on the air, and then from that point on, you can unload or whatever, Keith. But we met how many years ago?
I think I was the mayor of Cedar-Woolley, so that's been quite a while, maybe 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah. That's about it. And that is correct. I went and asked them to use their little rodeo grounds.
Oh, yes.
And before that, there was a no-no. It was restricted because the Hispanic population messed up. They weren't accountable. I came on board. I asked Keith. I talked to Doug Wood. And I don't know if I went in front of the city council or not, but I asked permission for them to try me for one event and see how it would turn out. We did the event for Fiestas Patrias, which is Hispanic Heritage Month, which involves different countries' independence. So when you hear Fiestas Patrias, or when you hear Hispanic Heritage Month, that's the same, okay? So we did have the event there. Everything went according to what it was supposed to. And I think we got a lot of positive feedback from the people, from the mayor, from the sheriff, and we did real good.
And I think at that time I shared with you my own Hispanic background. So my great grandmother Guadalupe Villanueva was a early pioneer with my great grandfather who came up from New Mexico to Montana, and she's kind of the most famous matriarch in our family that we often talk about.
So, para ustedes que ahorita acaba de terminar de hablar, Keith habló de su mamá que vino de México y esa señora era la mera planta de la vida de la familia de él. Y por eso yo me siento con mucho orgullo de estar con él, porque de verdad él tiene sangre de mexicano o de latino o hispano, como sea. Es como su familia. Por eso es muy importante que toda la gente puede a tener personas que les puede ayudar en este estado de Washington. Keith lo ha conocido, ha hablado con él y yo sé que es un hombre justo para seguir, para hacer las obras que tiene para el estado de Washington. I just want to say that I'm very honored to have met you in Cedar Woolley and to know a little bit about the background. There are individuals nowadays, they are ashamed to say, I am a Mexican, or I am black, or I am Korean. You know, people, melting pot. Individuals, we came from Adam and Eve, and yet there's a division there.
Right.
There's arguments, discrimination. That should not be. I have a friend here that I trust, and he trusted me, and we are together at this time trying to let you know that this man is capable, this man is accountable because of the different things that he has done in Olympia by the grace of God. And people don't want to use God, but I do. And so it's important that we all, uh, if you don't believe, Google it and find out about Keith, and you will find out. It doesn't say much about your grandma, but but still, your words are
Well,
good enough.
she died in 1930, so it's been
Oh.
a long time ago. But you have met my wife and my family. My wife is Chinese from Taiwan, and so we don't have those types of issues in our family. And I really thank you for the kind words. And you were one of the first people who interviewed me when I was running for senator.
Yes.
I think you were working out of Mount Vernon at that time.
In KSVR. So there's some points for KSVR. I don't know what's going to happen with that. That radio was really a mouthpiece for Skagit, and I did my utmost to keep it going. It's in the management, they decided to go a different way, but still, it is needed because it was the place where the communication to the Hispanics was there. And up here we have this little station, but we can still reach Skagit County all the way to Mexico, all over the United States. And that's a beauty.
Great.
It's a beauty that we can have. I mean, I do have people even faxing me or messaging me about coming on the show, but I believe in the scripture when it says not to lay hands swiftly on any man. In other words, I have to be careful on who comes on board here. But at the same time, if it's people that I recognize or know about, they are welcome. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, if they are willing to do something to improve Washington State by laws, by health issues, there's so many things, by schooling our children, they need a voice. They need ability to go up the ladder. And I do know, or I believe also that some of the high school kids can actually be part of up in Olympia, be pages or
Right.
something?
So the PAGE program unfortunately was put on hold during COVID.
Oh,
So, but it should start again soon, and I hope that opportunity is available. A lot of kids kind of missed their chance, like kids missed a lot of things over the last 2 years.
hmm.
But what you said about being able to work together, that's been one of the things I have prided myself on Olympia, and it's very important in the Secretary of State's office because that's an independent executive office. One of the most important responsibilities of the Secretary of State is to certify our elections and to make
Mm.
sure that everything is run smoothly and fairly and transparently, and that everybody's legitimate votes are all counted, and any problem votes that we have are looked at, and any fraudulent votes, get kicked out of the system. And then we find out who those people are who are trying to play with our system, because your votes, and I'm talking to all the people out there who are listening to your show right now, your votes are so important. It's the basic bedrock of our governmental system, is that every person's vote counts.
Go ahead. And I think, with that said, I think it is important that we all listen to what Keith is saying to all of us, actually, in reality, because it's important to be on the air. It's important to bring these kind of issues so that I know a lot of times I've always been in favor in helping high school kids further their education, but sometimes there have never been enough funds uh, to actually help them. Um, there's some children, for example, there's the term bullying in
Mm-hmm.
schools, the damages that has is occurring to a lot of our young kids. I was bullied when I was just a little kid. I could barely even speak English because I came from Texas. But I came to a school locally, but I was bullied. My mother,
Mm-hmm.
my father never knew, but I kept it all in. There are children right now that this is happening. They're carrying a backpack of memories. Just like a
Mm-hmm.
veteran, we carry backpacks. And that's why we have the PTSD program to unload so we can be more creative. That's the reason I'm on the radio. I've unloaded and I'm helping people in situations that sometimes they are not able to accomplish. So here the store people come. And when they leave here, some of the backpacks are unloaded, they're happy, and they're good. They made a trip here to this little store. So this is what we need. We need people that are accountable, people who have walked the walk, like my friend is a veteran, and he stays tuned to all the regulations that will be presented before him. And this is part of the policy that he has been doing for how many years?
Well, after I retired from the Navy, I had no interest in politics, so I took a few years off. I think I started about, well, I was 5 years in the city council before I was mayor for 2 years, and 5 years now as a senator. So yeah, 12 years in politics, and I didn't really ever intend to get in. It all kind of happened like an accident. Before that, I was a retired Navy pilot, flying helicopters, and just wanted to get home. And Skagit Valley was our home. I grew up there, and I had so many great memories with, working in the fields in the summer with my friends and picking berries. And back then, every teenager worked in the fields in the summertime. So you worked strawberries, raspberries, cucumbers, potato truck, pea viners. A lot of that's gone now. I'm kind of sad about it because we've taken away the opportunity for young people to learn about work is fun, and earning your own money is fun. I miss those days.
Well, I think it was that came to a stop somewhat when the law it became law
Mhm.
in Washington State that some of the kids could no longer work out in the fields, and that's would cause a little bit of an issue. The kids could no longer be with the parents working, and but the health of the child is very important too. But it was a kind of a balance on there, and so in reality, the kids lost out in some extra pay and everything else. But life is life. But you notice the tone, now my friend, the tone and the way he speaks, very calm. This is what we need. We need somebody that can go in to Olympia and do the job, to be able to talk in a way that's peaceful and with knowledge and ability to do things, to accomplish things. And this is basically my point and my feeling toward my friend here. But again, you are the ones that will be making the choice. You're the one that will be voting. And I believe that if you have any other questions, you can actually email us. And if you want to, you can put your email right over here, Keith.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Go ahead and you can do that while I continue talking. That way, you'll have an email where you can contact them. I don't know if it's going to be having any more events or anything. I don't know, but after he's done typing, then he can relax, and we continue our talk. But overall, yes, he was to me the reason that we were able to be part of the rodeo grounds in Citroboli. And I was drafted when I was in Citroboli. But either way, that's got nothing to do with it. But if you have never gone to Citroboli, you should see the beautiful, beautiful the loggers have put a lot of beauty into Citroboli. I mean, it stands out. In Washington State, I don't know if we have another city like it, like Citroboli.
Well, I am sure proud of it, and I'm
Yeah.
proud of the people. And because it's not only is it a beautiful place to live, it's also a very friendly and safe place to live. And although things, we do have problems from time to time, but in general, I think you couldn't have picked a better place.
Mhm. Yes, and it's peaceful. I've never had an issue with them at all whatsoever. I mean, I was like I said, I was drafted from there, and I came back and everything. But it's a beautiful little town. It's well kept, really clean, and it's very inviting type thing. As far as I'm concerned. So I would recommend. It would be nice. I don't know if they're building any housing there or not. Do you know of?
They are building some housing. We're behind across the state in terms of building housing, particularly housing that people can afford.
Okay.
But Cedar Woolley's really doing its part in building uh, apartments and things, and we have tried to keep up with the growth. It's a little bit difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
and as you know, prices of houses are up across the state. And that's one of the problems that we've wrestled with in the legislature, how to make housing affordable. At the same time, it seems like the legislature keeps laying requirements on the builders and making it more and more expensive. So um, we have to really think about what we do in Olympia in a better way so that we focus on driving costs down so people can have places to live, which none of that has to do with the office I'm running for, but it does have to do with the office that I'm uh, in right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But there's no. I understand exactly what you're saying. There are individuals in Olympia, Democrats, Republicans. They have their agenda, not the agenda of the people. And I wish there was some way to measure that, to let the voters know the rate or the things that they are voting for. and I think that would open their eyes for the following year, whatever. But I cannot get a really good handle as far as that goes, because there is sometimes, I believe, that there are things brought up before Olympia that really in reality is harming the community. You know, I know a while back, I think it kind of got resolved. Wells for water.
Hmm.
That was a biggie there, but I think it got somewhat resolved.
Got fixed in Whatcom County, but in Skagit, along the Skagit River, we still have problems, and that isn't fully resolved. And it's a difficult problem because you want to balance the environment
Mhm.
and the salmon runs, which are important to everybody, with the ability of people to live on their own property and build a home and drill a well. So that is a complicated issue that hasn't been fully resolved yet. I hope it is someday,
Mhm.
because we all want a clean environment. We want to see the salmon runs return, and we also want to see people be able to enjoy their property.
That is correct. Estaba hablando también de Cedro Bully. Todavía sigue el problema que, let me ask you a question. Can somebody still buy a piece of property, and if it doesn't have no well, they're not able to get a well yet?
It depends
It's
on
outside.
where in the valley. So if it's upstream pretty much of Cedro Woolley and it's not serviced by public utility water, although the public utility is growing, so we're getting more water out that way, then it's very difficult to get a permit for a well.
Okay, that's what I'm going to say. En esta parte de Cedro Bully, no en la mera planta, en mero centro de Cedro Bully, afuera, como afuera que para las montañas, si uno quiere comprar un pedazo de tierra, unos acres, es muy importante que usted debe conocer y saber que no se puede hacer una noria, un pozo, porque es en contra de la ley. La cosa que está pasando es que el agua, la lluvia, está ayudando a todos los pescados que vienen en el río de Skagit. Y si usted comienza a hacer norias o pozos, como sea, ese le quita mucha agua del río. La gente que está en el centro de la ciudad está bien, porque están aplicando permisos para usar el río o la agua que está allá en el pueblo. Son cosas que yo sé hace años, este punto salió en que mucha gente ah, pues tenía problemas. Compraban un pedazo de tierra y no podían hacer una noria. Ese era un problema muy grande. Y por eso, antes de comprar usted una tierra afuera de la ciudad, usted debe revisar las leyes con la ciudad, y la ciudad le va a decir si es posible de poner una noria o no. Aquí también, aquí en Whatcom County también la misma cosa ha pasado. Por eso ustedes deben conocer que hay reglas que tenemos que seguir. Las mismas reglas que en que él estuvo en Olympia, está también cuidando y nos está apoyando para nosotros. I believe there's different regulations in the state that we have to be very careful. If you don't know about drilling a well, inquire at your local city center or waterworks, whatever, for that. So,
Yes, and the county in Skagit, the county is the place to find out. Yeah.
el condado es donde usted puede saber si es posible de hacer una noria o algo, porque es la mera planta de Skagit en esa manera. Well, my friend, what else do you want to say?
Well, I'd like to talk about my qualifications because there's 8 candidates for Secretary of State. So that's a lot of decisions that people have to make. Who's better? Why? Um, I have been a senator for 5 years, a mayor for 2 years. So I have executive experience as a mayor. I have small government experience as a city council member. I also served in the Navy for 23 years as an officer and helicopter pilot. I went to school at the United States Naval Academy, which is a leadership school, and I have a master's degree in leadership from the University of San Diego. The Secretary of State's office is a leadership position. It has lots of different responsibilities: elections, state library, state archives, confidential address program, lots of important things. Oh, corporations and nonprofits file through there. So no person can be an expert on every one of those departments, but I'm an expert on leadership and management. And that's what I've been doing my whole life. The other thing that's important is my connection to the Senate, because the Secretary of State can do some things on their own, but it's the legislature that makes the laws. And you have to have a way to communicate with the legislature to get the tools you need to do a good job. And I think that's where my skill set is. I work well with people on the other political parties, and I've been successful as a senator because when you're in the minority, which I have been my entire 5 years, you have to learn how to connect with people to get something done. And I think I have a good track record of supporting my district because I can work with other people.
Very good. And I think that's the reason that I have talked about accountability and what things that you have done. And I think I don't know about the other candidates that are running, but I do know Keith Wagner, and I believe he's a good, just man who will fulfill that seat. You gotta be patient and not lose your temper when you start talking with different groups too, and that's part of the thing that his nature is calm, and believe me, there are things that people will say. They will you have to sometimes bear it, carry it, and just let it go eventually, but I think it's important to know that wisdom is part of the things that we need, and righteous people who can be leaders or who are candidates for this office. And I really believe truly that we have a leader here, one of a kind, and I know he is one of a kind, and he can lead in the right way. So, if anybody has any other questions to ask him, you got the email there. It's already posted on the computer there. So you can give us a call, give him a call, and he will answer accordingly as that you are. The way that you ask is the way that he's going to respond in that manner. So, but I do appreciate your time here, Keith, because I do know you got your hands full. You got hands full, but
Well, thanks for the opportunity, because this really makes me feel good that you thought to check with me and see how I was doing and invite me on your show. It feels great.
yeah. This man here was in Olympia. He drove all the way through all the traffic. You know the traffic I-5, all the ways to be here in this little town. Or it's growing. Ferndale is growing.
Oh, I was at home this time.
Oh,
So
you
I
were
came
okay.
from Cedar Woolley, not so far away, but I would have come up from Olympia for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my friend, I think it's about all. Unless anything else you want to add to, but I think we're good. I think everybody is listening, and we're going to share this information, and you will too, I guess. And you, if you have a Facebook or something. No, I don't know. You're not legally can't right now, can you? Use Facebook.
My campaign website can use information like this, but
Okay.
I can't use any state assets because that's the state.
Yes,
You paid
yes.
for it, and you shouldn't be paying for my campaign. But
That's correct. Yeah. I read that at one time. I said, I wonder what that means. And I'm glad you clarified, what the meaning was. Well, thank you, my people who are listening. We've been on the air for a little while, and at least you have met Keith Wagner, and I hope you are able to vote. If you are legally here in the United States, please do so, and we'll go from there. And pasen buenas noches, mi gente. Si ustedes tienen más preguntas, me pueden mandar mensaje a mí o venir aquí a la tienda en la Colima para hablar de Keith, porque sí tiene sangre de mexicano en la manera que es un hombre justo, tiene mucha paciencia y tiene mucha experiencia en Olimpia y también estuvo en la Marina por muchos años y tiene experiencia y por eso tiene la responsabilidad que puede seguir haciendo, ayudando a todo el estado de Washington. I'd like to thank you for your time, and anytime you want to come on board, give
All
me a
right.
call and we can go from there.
Well, bless you.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, and bless
Thank
your
you.
listeners too.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're good.